Hey Eric,
Hey,
open say wounds in the stomach, come on the fist and break your spine. Ah!
it is one of my favorite lines.
Hey guys, Drew here from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond, and we got Eric back. How you doing, man?
Hello. Doing great. I'm excited because we're here to review one of my favorite guilty pleasures.
Yeah, yeah. If you didn't know already, we're gonna review Arnold Schwarzenegger's Running Man. Which I'm pretty
It's
excited
something.
about. I had never seen this movie before, so it's not really a guilty pleasure.
It's a treat. It is an
Yeah.
absolute treat. I watched this movie a lot when I was a kid growing up because they had it in like rotation on like TNT or TBS,
Oh
and so
yeah,
it would play like once a week, or it felt like it at least. So I've seen this movie like at least the television edited version of it like so many times,
so it's
probably
like the
20, 30
Saul
times.
Sync of Arnold movies.
Oh yeah,
Well, I guess T2 would be because they play that shit ton of times on TV.
that's true. I have seen Terminator 2 a lot as well. um but yeah, Arnold was my go-to. Arnold
Oh,
was my favorite action star, and like people love Stallone, people love
I
uh
like the Rocky movies with to have the
that's
poster
true.
there.
Right, I love Rocky 1.
Yeah, I like
But
all the Rockies, even
mm,
five.
even 5, I do like the reboots. I like the Rocky Balboa and the Creed movies. I
Oh
think those
yeah.
are really cool.
Um, you know what's funny? My guilty pleasure, my number one guilty pleasure, is actually another Arnold movie.
Really, what is it?
Guess. Yeah,
Twins.
no,
Last Action Hero.
no.
Shoot.
It's a pretty famous one. It's pretty infamous.
Famous one.
Yeah, it's pretty infamous.
Eraser.
No, I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Look through the dinosaurs. The ice age.
Oh no, Batman and Robin.
I freaking love Batman and Robin. That movie's so bad, but it's so good.
It's so you're right. You're right. It is this one. I think Running Man is right up there with it as far as like just cheese factor and like. But I mean, Batman and Robin may take the cake as far as like
Yeah.
just ultimate, just guilty pleasure.
So before we get started real quick, we got to do this last episode, but we'll just do it real quick.
Sure.
What kind of horror and sci-fi media have you been consuming over the
Okay.
last?
I don't. I mean, all right. So I
Oh,
watched.
also
I never.
fantasy counts too.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair. I'd never seen. I'd never finished out the Saw movies, so I
Mm.
finally watched Jigsaw and Spiral.
Okay, I need to see
And
that. Do you have to watch
Jigsaw.
yet? Do you have to watch the whole Saw franchise to watch Spiral?
Uh, I mean, no, no. You can if you know enough about Saw, you can get by without having it. It may reference some things that are like well deep into the
Mm.
mythology of it all, but I've seen them all. But they kind of just it's been years and years and
Yeah.
years. I will say Jigsaw, pretty solid Saw movie.
Okay.
Spiral, not great.
I really. I thought
But
that one was really good.
there's a lot of fun moments in it though. There's a lot of fun moments in it, and you get to see Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson acting together, so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
What else? What
of
else?
course.
I watched Heather's, which I guess is like a horror movie,
Yeah, it's kind of a
like an
thriller.
'80s. It's like a horror comedy thriller,
Horror comedy.
which I think it's a lot of fun, and it holds up pretty well. And then I've been watching The Good Place on television, which I guess would
Real
be
quick, Eric. I
yeah.
work with the guy that's a huge Heather fan.
As a huge what fan?
He's a huge fan of the movie Heathers.
Yeah, yeah, I love Heather's.
Yeah, so like within like the first like 3 or 4 months of me working at Staples. I work at Staples, by the way. Dude comes
Yeah.
up and he tells me, "Hey, dude, you seen Heather's, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he says, "Well, fuck me gently with a chainsaw." I'm like, "Wow!" You said that out in the middle of Staples.
It's good. It's good. That man knows his stuff.
Yeah, my
I
favorite
do love.
line is when after they killed the two jocks, Kristen Slater's girls. Well, the only thing that those two guys brought to the school was date rape and age jokes.
Yep. Oh, he's doing his best Jack Nicholson impression for that whole movie.
Yeah, I felt like Heath Ledger was kind of channeling a little Chris Slater when he was doing the Joker.
Yeah, maybe. I think you may be right. Boy, Cat, get off my keyboard. Other than that, I've been watching like The Good Place, which I guess is considered. I guess you could consider it like fantasy sci-fi television
Yeah,
about people who kind of died and then now they're supposedly in the good place, which I don't want to ruin anything.
that show, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But it's it's just television.
I actually been to his restaurant.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
I
called,
didn't know he had a restaurant.
Yeah, him and his wife Mary Steenburgen.
Oh, nice. They have one here. Wait, here in Arkansas?
Yeah, they're from Arkansas. Both of them are.
Oh, I knew Steenburgen was. I didn't know Denson was. It's crazy. Small world.
Yeah, that's right. Claire from Back to the Future Part 3 is from Arkansas. We know that.
What have you been watching? What do you got? Anything? You got any good nuggets in there?
3 things well, 2 movies I watched, and then I'm currently reading a book right now. I watched the original Cape Fear.
Okay.
Really
The Gregory
good.
Peck one.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Not as good as the De Niro one.
Yeah.
I feel like I honestly felt like with the original, like it was trying to be Alfred Hitchcock, and it was very good at that, but it didn't quite get there. I think with the Marty Scorsese one, like it was like he got like to the full Hitchcock mode.
Oh yeah, no, it feels like the De Niro one feels dangerous. Like it feels like, ooh, I don't know what he can like. Then Hays Code and stuff like that back in the 50s, they couldn't do everything. So
well, even like the with the original was Robert Mitchum, like I was actually kind of disturbed by him. I was just as disturbed by him because some of the stuff he was saying like towards like the daughter. I'm like, oh my god, you're able to say that back then?
Yeah. They get away with a lot.
Yeah, I actually think she was that actress was underage, like in that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know if the other actress was underage or not.
I don't know.
Whatever her name is.
Juliette Lewis was, I'm pretty sure, underage.
Yeah,
pretty sure she was 16 when they made that movie, and I was like, ooh.
I don't like her.
I don't either. I'm not a huge Juliette Lewis fan. But have you seen? There's another Robert Mitchum movie called Night of the Hunter, and it kind of plays along the same lines as Cape Fear. You should check it out. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I guess I'll add that to my long list of movies to watch in October.
Oh yeah, no, I've got my list keeps growing every day. I'm just like, I've never seen that. I'm gonna add that to the list.
Watched that. I watched the first Venom with Tom Hardy. Because the new one's coming out on Friday, which I'm excited for.
I like the first one. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, pretty decent movie.
Yeah.
Exactly like the Venom comic or how he was in the comics necessarily, but I mean it was a fun movie. Definitely a lot better than the dude from that 70s show.
Ooh yeah. I am excited about the new one. I've always loved Carnage.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about it. Like Topher Grace was a very good Eddie Brock.
Yes.
But when he was Venom, it was not that great, and he just looked like he was in a black Spider-Man costume the whole time.
Yes. It almost wish they would have just hired someone else to be Venom and him be Eddie Brock.
Yeah. Well, even like when they had the mask, like the mask or whatever off, like it still could have been Topher Grace, but when he's in full Venom.
Right.
Yeah, and then also
Venom's supposed to be big and menacing,
Yeah. Other than that, I've been I just started reading House on Haunted Hill.
Hmm.
Which
Still
is
need to watch that.
yeah. The last episode sucked.
Oh no.
Yeah, but
Well, okay, that's fair.
yeah, but really good. Really good book so far. Nothing especially creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Has been going on. It's just kind of a lot of character setup.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know if a lot of targets are doing this, but my specific target, they actually in their book section have a whole horror like section.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
That's
they
real
had
cool.
like a bunch of Stephen King stuff. They had this book. They had House of Leaves.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the first time I saw that, I'm like, I don't know if I want to get that. And then I came back to get House Up on a Hill, and then like
Right.
House of Leaves was all sold out. I'm like, what? I wanted to buy that and probably not read it for another 5 years.
Of course. But you have it then at that point to at least go like someday book, I'll read you.
Yeah, you're intimidating now, but I will read you House of
Yeah.
Leaves. You will not
Just wait.
intimidate me, Mark Danielewski. But anyways, let's get on to Running Man. How did you find out about Running Man?
Running Man, I feel like I've always known about Running Man. I don't remember the first time I saw it. It had to have been in those early days when we first got like cable or something. Because before we just had like regular television, and then so like this whole swatch of like movies that were picked up by Turner Classic, not Turner Classic Movies, Turner TBS and TNT, and so they just started playing. They would play any of these like '80s movies on loop in like the early '90s. And so I remember seeing this movie like a lot as a kid, and it's really not like super violent. So like a lot of the stuff in the movie is still in the edited version for television, just not all the curse words. Um,
Right.
yeah, it takes a little while to get moving, but
Mm,
once you get into the tournament stuff, all that's great.
right.
How'd you come about it?
I remember when the first Hunger Games movie was coming out. Or
Mm-hmm.
about to come out. My mom on summer vacation to Daytona because we have time stay down there.
Mm-hmm.
She read all the books like on that whole week we were there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember she was telling me that this reminds me of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called The Running Man. And she was telling me about the plot, and it basically is The Running Man.
Yeah.
A corrupt government, and then you're forced to kill each other,
Mm-hmm.
and
For
all that stuff.
entertainment.
Yeah. Well, I also remember Total Recall, the remake, but came out that same year too. I remember she was
Yeah.
telling me about the original one. Which I eventually saw the original one with
Right.
Arnold. And that's honestly like my top like 3 Arnold movies with T2,
Mm-hmm.
True Lies, and
Mm-hmm.
then Total Recall.
Yeah. I mean, this movie here basically set up the Arnold formula like going forward as
Yeah.
far as like big action movies. He's got a lot of great one-liners,
Mm.
and that's about it. It's not super deep.
Well, I think
Everything's
what
pretty
made
surface
me so
level.
appealing was like he was from another country. And he
Sure.
had
Yeah.
really thick like Austrian accent. Um, so I think like yeah, the one-liners in these movies are bad, but like that's what makes it so appealing.
Of course. Of course. And he's jacked. He's just like the
Yeah.
biggest man
Well, he was on
imaginable.
steroids for a lot of his career,
Of course. Right. Yeah. But
but
you mean all
I
that's not natural?
you on me. So sick.
So this is your first time seeing Running Man, correct?
Mm.
What's your initial thoughts? What are your first thoughts on like
A lot of
the
fun.
Running Man?
It's a
A
lot
lot
of
of fun.
fun.
Okay.
Hey, which one's that? That boy
This is
cat?
Boy Cat. This is
Yeah.
Boy Cat. He also likes the Running Man.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know. He
um,
just loves being on the screen.
yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't like this as much as Total Recall. It's more of an
Mm-hmm.
iconic movie for me. I can sit down like almost any time of day or any day of the week and watch that. That's kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
rainy day movie for me, even though I only see it twice.
Right.
Um, But I guess we can talk more about this like in our final thoughts. I wish the backstory of everything could have been explained a little bit better. I was getting a little confused there.
Oh yeah, no, it's they definitely are like breezing past things, hoping you won't notice them at certain points. They're just kind of like, yeah, he's a bad guy in prison, but he's really a good guy. Don't worry about any of this stuff. We're gonna get into some action here soon.
Right. Yeah, I got you. So anyways, I didn't write down an extensive amount of notes like in our 2-hour Bubba Duke review, but I kind of wrote down some like highlights and like important bits.
Right.
So basically, this movie is set in the not too distant future of 2017, which I guess is like the not so distant past now.
Right.
It's kind of like Back to the Future 2.
Right.
Yeah.
And everything is just garishly 80s. Like it's undeniably set in the 80s, even though it's set in 2017.
Yeah. So basically, you find out through like the tax at the beginning that like all art and communication has been totally censored, and there's this game show called The Running Man, and like it's kind of like a modern day gladiator kind of thing, and you kind of learn a little bit more about it like later on in the movie, which we'll get to. So we're introduced to Arnold. He's like a military guy, I'm assuming.
I think he's part of the police force. They make mention of it when they break out of prison later on. But yeah, I think he's like part of the police state, whatever that is.
Right, and he's sent to prison for not complying to an order on a mission, by not killing like innocent people, or something like that. And I think he gets like framed. He gets like framed for it, like later on, or you learn
they don't right, in which they don't explain at all at the very beginning. Like they bring it up later, and they're like they edited the material to show him like mowing down people, but like for a while you're just like, he just went to prison for like I don't know. It's they really brush past a lot of like these like, don't think about it too hard. We're gonna see a guy's head explode here soon. Hang on.
This is actually based off a story by Stephen King or Richard Bachman at the time.
Right, and this is why I felt like we should do Total Recall, because we just come off like the Stephen King one we did not too long ago.
Yeah, but yeah, people voted for Running Man, but
I voted for Running Man.
Yeah, could have been iRobot or Tron Legacy, but it is what it is. So, anyways, he's in prison for like 6 months, and then he breaks out of the prison. And then like he's kind of like sort of like on the run at this point. And he's like, if I remember correctly, he was in him and like his printed buddy for like in like this little like weird shady part of town where like he's like getting fixed up. It's kind of like that scene in the '89 Batman when like Jack Nicholson with his face reconstructed and it's like all creepy and like messed up.
Right.
And so during this scene, there's a lot. It's a little more of the world building. There's talked about being brainwashed by TV, and like the truth is like unpopular. What we'll get to in themes. And then so then we learned that Arnold was like a cop at some point. He was forced, or he would enforce censorship. And then he's kind of like a fugitive at this point. In the movie. And he's kind of like, I don't remember because
Yeah. Right.
Explain it well.
No, they don't. They just kind of brush past all those things. And honestly, the beginning kind of feels a little tacked on and a little cheap. Like I almost wish we didn't know he was like framed at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe like he's in prison at first.
Yeah. And they escape because it's it's a prison thing. I mean, like it's a police state. These guys are not bad guys. They're just in prison, and like I don't think we even needed that whole first scene, and just maybe played it up later on. I don't know.
Right. So, well, one thing I thought was kind of interesting, or
Mm.
kind of funny or whatever, was when Arnold is kind of going around, I guess, like trying to clear his name or whatever he's trying to do.
Mhm.
He wears a World Gym T-shirt, which is a takeoff of
Yeah.
Gold Gym, which is a
Right.
gym in California he used to work at.
Right.
Um, and then in the middle of the movie, get more world building. Um, we get introduced to a character played by Jesse Ventura, who worked with Arnold on Predator, named Captain Freedom. And
Mhm.
he's a former Running Man contestant, and he's like doing like a workout video,
Mhm.
like that's really weird ones from like the '80s when like women were in like those really tight spandex.
A
It's like the
lot of
purple one,
tight women in tight spandex.
well, it
Yeah.
was like the two. It was like two layers of like,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
yeah. It's like it had like the spandex, and then almost like a G string like top thing over that.
It
Like,
was very popular in the '80s. It was very popular. Obviously, there's like so many dance sequences in this movie where people are just wearing leotards and dancing around.
yeah, there's
I
actually
would probably exercise more if I had a Jesse Ventura exercise tape.
um yeah, there's actually a scene like that in Friday the 13th Part 4 in the
Is
hospital.
there? That is, you're right.
Yeah, remember the guy that nurse Axel, he was lost man out
Mm-hmm.
a workout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Classic. Classic.
And then kind of throughout the beginning of the movie, we slowly learn about the game show Running Man. I forgot to mention in during before the prison break, some of the prison guard talk about Running Man. Like I think one of them says, "Hey, did you see Running Man like last night?"
Yeah.
Now that's interesting because this was way before like reality shows got like big. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
there's even, well, there were game shows obviously, but they weren't like reality
Right.
shows. So then
Right.
it's kind of felt like nowadays when we talk about like, hey, did you see Survivor last night? Did you see American Got Talent last night? Did you see
Mm-hmm.
Big Brother last night?
Right.
It's sort of like,
I feel in some ways it was ahead of its time. Oh my goodness. Boy cat,
yeah,
what are
for
you doing?
sure. So basically, goal of um of um of Running Man, from the best I from what I gathered is there's these things called stalkers,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like these over the top like henchman type characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that have like different powers. There's like a chainsaw guy. There's like an opera singer guy that suits like
Buzzsaw. Yeah.
yeah. There's a flamethrower guy. And those are called the stalkers. And then Arnold's the runner, hence Running Man, and he's supposed to kill each and every one of these.
Or get
Hence the
killed.
gladiator
Usually
part.
people just right, yeah. The I assume it's all just a big play off of American Gladiators. Do you ever see American Gladiators from the '80s?
That was out in
Um,
the 80s. I knew they did a
oh
modern
yeah.
take on it.
Maybe it was early '90s, but I could have swore it started. Maybe it started after this, but I could have swore this was like a big play on
Mm,
American Gladiators.
yeah.
Like
Well,
someone was in just like a pitch meeting. They're like, what if it was? Oh no, American Gladiators came out in '89. This beat them. So
yeah. Wow.
someone watched The Running Man and was just like, what if it was The Running Man, but we just didn't kill the contestants?
Right. Um, Yeah, so actually I do remember what Arnold was doing. He was basically exposing like this television network, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Um and basically like he gets caught, and then like the host of Running Man wants him to be on the show.
Oh yeah, which is Richard Dawson, who was the host of many game shows in like the '70s, which
Oh
is just
really?
another like meta layer like on top of
Wow.
all of it. Yeah, Richard Dawson, who is amazing as Killian, like maybe the best actor in the movie. In honesty, is our main villain, and he was the host of like many game shows like Family Feud, and like I think there was like several other ones in like the '70s, which is just like another, which basically they were doing meta before meta, I guess,
Mm.
or like really like casting someone who was a game show host as a game show host, but just a very sadistic one in this one.
Yeah. So basically, Arnold's basically forced to do Running Man or go back to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he chooses to do Running Man, to fight for his survival, basically.
Right.
So then we cut. Oh, and all along the way, we have something that works. They have this this female character that works at Running Man. That Arnold kind of teams up with and like captures against her will.
Right. And they just introduce her in the most like ham-fisted way. Like just explain the way like how they meet up. It's like basically Arnold is going to his brother's apartment and he has the same code. Like they wouldn't change the code when she moves into the apartment, but apparently he's just been like whisked away to be like reprogrammed, like re-educated, so to speak, his brother. And they're just like, that's it. That's how they meet. And now he's gonna like kidnap her.
I did not get all that.
Yeah.
I lost it.
It's completely brushed over. It's just like, don't pay attention to this.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that to me because I did not like.
There's a lot of like moments in this movie that are just like, don't worry, we're gonna get to some action here soon.
Yeah, and then we get to the Running Man show finally. And at the beginning,
40. It's like 45 minutes in.
Yeah, there's some cheesy female dancers at the beginning.
Yes.
In like really like crazy like 80s outfits. Like I don't remember like what they were. They were kind of like very I don't remember what they looked like.
Yeah, no, they're prototypical, like atypical sort of like 80s like big intro for a television show dancers. Like they look like
it very much like Rocky IV. They living in the American scene. Living in America. So I love that scene. I love that scene so much. So anyways, so then Arnold signs the formality. And he actually stabs the guy and he says, Don't forget to send me a copy.
Don't forget to send me a copy.
Don't forget to send me a copy. And I like how the guy that he stabbed like runs away. He's like, ah!
Yeah. Yeah.
What was
Good.
that?
It's so ridiculous.
I mean, I know you're in like great pain, but like he just overreacts.
Oh man, and like the guards like just do nothing. Like they like no reaction whatsoever. Like not even like bemusement or just upset or like get out of here.
Or they're brainwashed by the street.
I guess so. Yeah.
So then and then we see right before Arnold goes down to the Running Man, we see that he's framed for killing innocent people in Bakersfield instead of not complying to that mission. Which is an interesting point because there's a lot of that in the news. Like we want to paint things the way we want to see them. And then we see Arnold get his outfit, which is lame. It's like a freaking orchestra from like the medieval times.
Yeah. Like he comes out in this sort of like dark, like brooding sort of like jumpsuit, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be like real dark, and then it's just like, nope, bright yellow. Bright as yellow.
It didn't even make sense because like the first part of the movie, especially like when he gets out of prison, is very gritty, has a grit to it, a grittiness to it, like Blade Runner. And then he has like this freaking court jester bullshit on.
Yeah.
And it's like what?
It's like 80s, like through and through. Like this came out the same year as Predator, and like Predator for the most part feels kind of timeless. Like there's parts of it that feel like they were made in the 80s, but for most part, like there's nothing about it that you couldn't have been made in the 70s or the 90s or the 2000s. Right. You know what I mean?
I don't got time to bleed.
Do what now?
I don't got time to bleed.
I don't got time to bleed. But yeah, like this one feels like it's just straight 80s, like just 80s
Yeah,
cheese,
through
like
and through.
throughout. Yeah.
So then like the host kind of explains like the rules to Running Man and all that.
Gotta run.
Yeah. Well, then Arnold is like kind of like in like this inner tube kind of, not an inner tube, but one of those like those bobsled kind of things, and he's like
Yep.
in the tunnel, and and that's what sends him into like the arena, the Running Man arena.
Mm-hmm.
And right before he goes down, he says, "I'll be back." Before
This
he
is like, yeah, could go.
yeah, and now like it's very fast for the Terminator. He said that right before he sent into the game, and then the host response is only in the rerun.
It's like classic, like is the best like comeback burn that plays well within the movie itself. Like it's great. Like for a one-liner, like it's really good.
Oh yeah.
It's like much better than the movie itself in a lot of ways. Like it is more clever and more funny than a lot of other things that happen in the movie.
Right. And now this is when the movie gets batshit crazy, because this is when he starts fighting the stalkers. The first stalker, I didn't write his name down, but he's like a hockey guy.
Sub-Zero.
Yes,
no, wait.
Sub-Zero.
Yeah, Sub-Zero. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I got this with Mortal Kombat for a second.
Oh wait, is it Sub-Zero? Now I'm questioning it. Just plain Zero. I think it is Sub-Zero. Yeah, it's Sub-Zero. Okay.
Okay.
Wanted to make sure. Sub-Zero.
Yeah, so like they're like in this hockey arena kind of thing. It's like a big fight.
Right.
And then eventually Arnold chokes him out with a barbed wire. And he says he was a pain in the neck. He was a pain in the neck.
Pain in the neck. See Sub-Zero, now just plain Zero.
And then you see that in the movie? I don't remember that.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I think this is a movie. If not, it should have been.
Director's cut.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get introduced to Dynamo, who's an opera singer who freaking shoots electricity out of his fingers.
Dynamo's my favorite. Dynamo is my guy.
Yeah, my favorite is the next one we get introduced to is his buzzsaw, and this is like a freaking coked up.
Oh yeah, no,
it's like he took a shot of cocaine right before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's ready. He's ready to do some killing.
Yeah.
Jacks.
And then the woman who works at Running Man is sent down to play the plays with to play the game with Arnold.
Yeah.
And as he's getting sit down, the announcer of Running Man lies, saying that he's cheated on the on her high school exam or whatever. Had sex with 3 guys in a year and was in a secret relationship with Arnold. Mm-hmm. Again, going back to that whole, we want to paint certain things, a certain way in the media.
Of course, and it's like it's justifying her being killed, basically, going into this murder game. Like we shouldn't pity this person who's fighting for their life because they're a bad person. And so, if this movie was smarter, it would be a whole like commentary on like the nature of what is bad and good, and like correctional facilities and this sort of like violent context and how that goes. But it's all surface level for the most part. I assume the Bachman novel, which I've never read, probably goes into a little more detail.
Yeah, I need to walk. Yeah. Stephen King, Mr. Bachman. Yeah, if you didn't guys didn't watch our top 5 Stephen King adaptations, if you don't know who Richard Bachman is, that was actually a fake name that Stephen King used when he was when he wanted to do like I guess like stuff that you wouldn't think he would do, like out of the norm, like a Running Man.
Mm-hmm. I forget what the other ones were. I know it was Running Man. I know he did a couple more with Richard Bachman. I don't remember what they all were. What was it?
Rage.
Is that Carrie 2?
No, that's the one about the school student, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah, he was like
oh, yeah,
so.
yeah.
I think that's how he got started with the Victor Bachman name because he was
Gotcha.
so embarrassed by it because it was so dark,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so he went on the pseudonym Victor Bachman.
right. Oh, he did Thinner too under Bachman.
Oh yeah, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just bought different seasons. Um, and it has like his whole bibliography on
Mm-hmm.
there, or up until like that edition of different seasons came out, and he has like all the Dark Tower books and then all the Rooker Bachman books. I remember then
Oh, nice.
so yeah, anyways, he fights Arnold fights Buzzsaw and Dynamo at the same time, kind of. He kills Buzzsaw with his own chainsaw, and he says to the woman, "You have to split."
You have to split. He cut him in half.
And
Did
then
you notice that at the end of when Buzzsaw gets the Buzzsaw to the let's just say groin area, at the end when he was about to fall over, like his voice pitches up to like a higher octave when he's screaming when he falls back because he's being literally castrated.
yeah, that kind of reminds. I don't
Blood.
know if you've done a lot of research on a medieval torture devices or punishments. That was one of them. They used to like tie you up and like saw you in half. And from what I've understand that they actually used to do it head first, and they got wise to it, saying that like, well, they would die almost instantly, and then like they would flip them around and do it like groin first with like that. That can't be too much fun.
Maybe Running Man is smarter than we give it credit for. Then maybe they're reaching into like old school methods of torture.
Well, and like I said, it kind of goes back to like the whole gladiator kind of.
Right.
That was like a form of like kind of punishment of slavery.
Right.
I actually went to the Roman Coliseum.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I stood in the same spot where Bruce Lee fought Chuck Norris in Ray the Dragon.
Nice.
Because Bruce Lee's the man.
Bruce Lee is the man.
Yeah, here's how I see it. Like, here's a pecking order. It's God himself, if you believe in that thing. Bruce Lee, and then Batman.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep, and then Prince.
Then Prince, yeah, of course. I mean, I might put Prince above Batman.
What?
Yeah.
Last
Like if we were doing a pecking order and Prince had his guitar and Batman only had,
but Batman has
toys.
that guitar.
I don't know.
But
Bat-tar.
Yeah, that car. So anyways, so he Arnold goes tries to call over to Dynamo, the opera singer guy. And he's like lit up like a Christmas tree, and then Arnold calls him, "Hey, Christmas tree."
You walking light bulb.
And then he chases Arnold, and I can't remember how he kills the character. Like he electrocutes him, I believe.
Technically, he doesn't kill him because Dynamo is an idiot and wrecks his own car trying to chase Arnold down.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then Arnold's basically like, I'm not going to kill him even though he's sadistic.
Here's the thing, Eric. This isn't the Bubble Duke, so I didn't feel the need to like analyze every little.
Oh no, that's fair. You shouldn't probably.
And I watched like
if you think too hard about this movie, it'll make you go crazy. So
yeah. Well, the whole time that Dynamo is chasing Arnold, and because he's like live like a Christmas tree, I yell out the screen, "Oh, you better run from the Tron guy." That's what he looks like. He looks like
he does look like the Tron guy. Yeah.
Not the cool Tron from like 2010. I'm talking about like the cheesy one.
Talking about Jeff Bridges Tron? You talking about like 1984 Tron?
Yeah, those costumes were bad.
Yeah.
I started watching the original Tron. I couldn't get through it.
It's kind of hard to watch, especially more recently.
Yeah, you guys would have voted should have voted for it. We could have talked about Tron Legacy.
We could have, but now you voted for this. We're just gonna keep talking about.
And then we get Arnold finding Fireball with the dude with the flamethrower. And he's blown up by dynamite.
Mm-hmm. Well, technically, it's a flare after he is like somehow climbed up into the ceiling of this room and no one has saw him and reaches down and like pulls his tube out and is throwing gas and fuel all over him and then throws a flare at him and blows him up. I assume it's that easy. There's a lot of things just defy logic in this movie.
Yeah, well, Arnold didn't have a pun there. I guess you can think of one.
He calls him a hothead. He's like, that guy was a real hothead.
And then I have here host fakes Arnold's death.
Mm-hmm. Which is like a cool twist. Which is it's something that really comes up now. Like they did a Black Mirror episode with it, the first Black Mirror episode with the guy and the pig, and I won't go into the gory details or the
I heard about that.
Gory details of it. But like one of their ways to get out of it was to digitally alter, and so like all the deep faking stuff that's going on now, like this is like something like way above its time, and really they were starting to do that stuff in 2017. So
it seems like they're trying to crack down on the deep fake stuff,
right?
Yeah, especially the more pornographic kind of stuff, which is weird.
Yeah.
And then Arnold planning to escape from Money Man. He goes to the So Real Bakerfield video. Oh no, he shows the real Bakerfield video.
Right.
I'm not complying.
Yeah. The lady somehow smuggles it out, even though she was clearly caught stealing it. And so she somehow smuggles it out. They meet up with the Resistance and they play that video to clear his name, but also to reveal that Killian is a liar.
Right. And then there's like a big shootout and he's trying to get to the host. And when he gets to the host, he says one of the dumbest, funniest Arnold lines. Do you want to say it? Because I didn't say all the.
No. Go for it. It's all yours.
This big shootout, and he's trying to find his way through like, I guess like the showroom or whatever, like where like the audience is at, the live audience is at.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds the host, and they're like at a significant distance from each other. And Arnold, and when they lock eyes to each other, Arnold goes, "Hello, Cutie Pie. One of us is in deep trouble."
So good. Classic.
What the fuck?
Classic put down. That's a classic Arnold put down from 1987.
It's like now every time, like
you mean you don't.
Now, every time I come on here, I'm gonna say hello, Cutie Pie.
Yes. And I'll know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And speaking of famous lines from this movie, the one I did at the beginning, there's a point in the middle of the movie where he has like a monitor where you can see the host, or the host can see him, or both. Wait,
like a camera. Yeah.
And he says, he tells the host, "Oh, if you say room to the stomach, come over to the face and make your damn spine." Ah! And he throws down the ground.
Classic Arnold freakout. Arnold freakout.
And then the host basically says, "Hey Arnold, I kind of like you. No hard feelings. The whole show was for ratings and entertainment." He also says we tell them what to eat, where, etc. Just like today. I think we get influenced by a lot of celebrities, for better or worse.
Oh yeah.
And so and then after that huge monologue, the host is sent down into the tunnel, the bobsled tunnel, I like to call it. And then I kid you not, he crashes into a billboard of himself. And then Arnold says, "We're about to hit the spot."
crashes into crashes into like a fake Coke billboard, which somehow before like
You
they
get into
leave
a
and
what?
crash into the billboard, it's like it's the cola that's that he endorses in the movie. It's like
Oh, I thought it was a thing from Running Man. That was a Running Man.
Cabela Cola or something like that. I can't remember.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I just saw that. I just saw the host. And I thought that
yeah.
was ridiculous enough that
Oh yeah, he gets killed by himself, like a giant version of himself, killed
right.
by his own ego, killed by
Oh,
the thing that he made. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching too deep with it. He
yeah,
gets killed by Arnold on a bobsled,
yeah,
on a future bobsled.
yeah. So speaking of themes, let's get on to themes of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've been kind of dominating the conversation a bit. I want to bring to the table the microphone off to you. What are some themes you found in the movie?
I mean, I think we touched on some of them already. I think it definitely touches on the idea of violence that is permanent in sort of our society, and I think a lot of that is plays into the sports we watch, which you talked about the ice hockey one, which is like a super violent sport. But that's the first stalker challenge. It's like the first guy is like an ice guy, and he skates him and puts one into a goalie cage. So I think a lot of it has to do with sort of this sort of reflection on um, where we are as a society, and like wanting to. I'm talking way too deep for the movie. It just skirts this level. It doesn't ever dig any deeper than this. But that we're already in a violent society, and this feels like a continuation of it. If you continue to go down this path, like violent sports, violent TV shows, and all that sort of stuff.
What
Um,
One thing I
I
find
don't.
kind of interesting with myself is that like I'll feel bad when like I see like a football player like
Mm-hmm,
get really hurt and gets out of
mm-hmm.
the game, but then like I'm cheering when I watch like a boxing like old boxing match from like the '70s or whatever.
Right, right, right.
Like
But it's all yeah.
yeah, it's in
But
contracts there.
right, right. But I feel like this movie wants to have its cake and eat it too. Like it almost wants to be like, violence is wrong. You shouldn't do it. These guys are innocent. You're cheering for them to die, and then it's like, and then at the end we're just like killing people, and we're supposed to feel great about it because he really is a bad guy. But it's like, is he a bad guy? I don't know.
Right. So a couple themes I found in this movie was one thing is we have people's interest in reality TV. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it pretty much predicted that shit like from a
Oh yeah,
mile. Because like I said, yeah, like the two-person guard saying, "Hey, did you watch Running Man last night?" Like we would say, "Hey, did you watch Big Brother last night?"
of course.
Yeah. And that Kylan guy, he wasn't playing a good game in the BB house or like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it felt like
Better
that
watch
kind of
out.
yeah. So I kind of
Right.
chuckled to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
myself when
Yeah,
I
but they would be talking about like, do you see what Sub-Zero did? He decapitated that guy, then kicked his head across the ice. And they'd be like, yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, for sure. Another thing I saw in the movie was riots and violence in the media.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a lot of the characters about that talks about network brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that kind of going on. I mean, I don't think like being entertained and like consuming media is necessarily a bad thing per se.
Right. Right.
I think
Well,
there,
when it's like fake too, you know what I mean? Like a movie that has violence in it is not the same as like a television show with real people actually getting murdered.
right, but yeah, but I mean, but I
Like
think
climbing for
after a while,
dollars.
it kind of desensitize you a little bit. So it's always
Yeah.
good to kind of like balance it out. Like I know if I watch a bunch of like horror movies or like kind of violent, kind of dark movies, like it kind of puts me
Mm-hmm.
in like a weird kind of dark like
Oh yeah.
place, like psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I'm constantly thinking about that, and I'm like, wow, I need
Right.
to get out of that. I've been thinking for a while.
Right.
Yeah, so I think media can influence you for better or worse.
Of course.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a lot of like life changing like stories out there. Like Gone Girl. Like when I watched Gone Girl for the first time, the Ben Affleck David Fincher movie, I'm like, wow, this movie makes me want to look at like news way differently now.
Oh yeah.
It makes me want to take everything with a grain of salt.
Of course.
And then in real life, like in this movie, there's with all the lies and stuff like that, people are split about like what's the truth.
Oh, that's especially now in this day and age, like
well,
truth
especially like
is
during COVID,
manageable.
the whole COVID thing, like if people have strong opinions either way, it's kind of hard to find what the truth is.
Oh, of course. I mean, people are presenting lies as facts and just false, like half truths and just all kinds of things, alternative facts and things like that. So
with everything I'm seeing on the internet regarding just really anything, but especially COVID, it's like I don't know what's the truth anymore.
right.
I don't know who. Yeah, it's kind of like watching The Godfather, essentially. You don't know who's lying.
So maybe we aren't giving the Running Man a fair shake. Maybe it is smarter than what we. It's got some really bad one-liners though. They can't deny that.
Yeah, and then you get the Jester jumpsuit.
Man, I love those. I have one. I wear one right now if I could.
I might be on your Halloween's coming up, man.
Halloween is coming up.
Yeah. Another thing I kind of going off of that is people for some reason, including myself, like they're kind of attracted to violence in a weird way. Even though I said, sometimes I need to get away from like violent movies sometimes. But I think that there's a sick fascination with.
Oh yeah.
Especially I think it was like body horror.
Right.
Yeah, there's this guy I watched. I've been watching called The Collective Learning, and he did like movie analysis, and he did one about John Carpenter's The Thing, and why that a movie like that is so attracting to people, because like it's showing people's like innards, like their inside parts, which is something like we don't see on a daily basis.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of gross and it's kind of fascinating.
Right. It's strangely beautiful. Like the thing, like inside the thing when the dog like breaks out and like opens up and it's like this weird flower made of tongues. Like it's oddly creatively beautiful, but also just like horribly disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know. Just what. I don't know why like people are just so attracted to violent things, because it's so taboo. It's just so out there. But like you're watching people like getting hurt, either in like real life or in like a movie or TV show or whatever.
Right.
I don't know why.
It's different. I think it's probably different for real life things. I don't watch a lot of any of those reels where people like get their legs like broken backwards. So like all those are too real to me. You know what I mean? Like Doug Flutie getting his leg snapped the other way. It's like I can't watch that stuff. But I watch a movie because I know that it's fake. I know that what they're doing is the magic trick. And that's what's I think that's what's fun about movies and violence in movies, is that it is a bit of a magic trick.
Right. And I think like the whole, does watching violent movies cause violent acts? And I don't actually think so. I think you already have that problem in the first place. But like I said, I do think it kind of, even when watching a movie, kind of desensitize you a little bit when you're in that kind of that dark place.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. So I think it's good to balance it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. But I think like watching stuff like that can make you more sensitive to certain things, or you might see things. You might see certain topics in different people's point of view.
Of course, right. And I think it depends on there's a rating system for a reason, and I don't, obviously don't think children should be watching The Running Man, but I think of people of a certain age and mindset who are capable of like articulating their own thoughts. I don't necessarily think violence is necessarily bad. I think it can be gratuitous, but
Right.
I don't know.
Like I said,
It's
you
hard.
you gotta be smart with it. You gotta,
Yeah.
you just gotta. I think honestly, I think it comes down to like parenting. Like you need to know your kids for sure.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, we went on way too long with that, but
way too long about violence. This was a silly movie about Arnold Schwarzenegger saying a bunch of silly one-liners.
right.
But maybe it's smarter than we think.
Yeah. Another thing that kind of goes off the line in the media is this movie paints Arnold as the bad guy, just like what we have as cancel culture today. Which is interesting. Which is interesting. But that might start like a huge thing in the comment section.
Right. See, I would almost argue that Arnold is never the bad guy because at the top we are told that he is innocent. You know what I mean?
Well, no,
but I guess
we as the audience know he's innocent. I'm saying like the host and the Warning Man show paints him as the bad guy. That's what I meant.
Right. But I would make the argument that cancel culture is like getting rid of the person. Like they are obviously like feeding off of like him being terrible and like people wanting like inciting that bloodlust to like see him get his due.
Yeah, and I feel like if they ever remade this movie, I think they would definitely get like real deep into it. I think you froze up for a second.
True.
Yeah, I think the my personal thoughts about the whole cancel culture thing, I think definitely really good intentions. I think people need to own up to certain things. I think people like a Bill Cosby, like a Harvey Weinstein, need to never work in Hollywood again. For
just
sure.
Disappear off the plane in there. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you kind of go further, and then you have everybody that ever said anything racist or insensitive about a certain community, even if it was like 5 or 10 years ago, and they don't necessarily feel that way now, like you're just gonna cancel them. I think that's where it kind of gets out of the hand a bit for me.
Yeah, it gets a little fuzzy there. It depends probably on them owning up to whatever problems they had and taking responsibility for their actions. And really it probably depends on it depends on them like owning up to it, and then it also depends on the offense itself. Some things are probably unforgivable, like what Bill Cosby did, or what Harvey Weinstein did, and they should just disappear off the planet.
I think a perfect example, the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation. I think how the media maybe painted it as like it was kind of like the whole believe all women thing. And now if you're a man that like beats your girlfriend or your wife, then like that's kind of disgusting. But from a lot of stuff I was hearing, I don't think he did anything. I think he was the victim. I think
I don't know. I have no idea, and I don't know if we'll ever know. Maybe I don't know.
Well, from the lot that I was hearing, because Amber Heard's actually bisexual. She was in a previous relationship with another woman before her relationship with Johnny Depp. They talked to her, and he said that Amber Heard was crazy essentially. And then he talked to
and she may be.
And he talked, and then they also talked to Johnny Depp's like ex-wife, and he said that was very unusual for Johnny to do that, or that so aggressive towards somebody.
Right.
Yeah,
it's possible.
To me, it could have been a man like a right beater, essentially.
Of course.
I thought that was unfair for him because we didn't know the whole story. As
of course.
Yeah, until a certain point, until like people, until we heard different like testimonies and like audio clips.
Right.
You hear like different like stuff like I guess like I guess it was like a counseling like a marriage council thing or a different like testimonies like in court or whatever. Like Amber Heard's what was is like very aggressive with like the way she handled the situation, where Johnny Depp was a little bit more kind of calm, cool, and collected. So that's a big sign right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that he was innocent. I don't know if he
Yeah, well,
was
maybe
or
he was
wasn't. I
maybe
don't know too much about the whole thing.
maybe
Yeah.
he was like being defensive, and then maybe
Right.
he didn't lay any hands on her, but after he did it to him.
Is that right though? I don't know. I mean, we're getting to like a big old gray area
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I mean, I guess the hard part. This is the part that I struggle with the most about these things, with like cancel culture and everything, is separating like the art from the artist.
Absolutely.
And it's hard. It's easier when it's not an actor. I say it's easier when you don't have to see them on screen and they're not ever present in it, but their fingerprints are all. I don't know. It's hard. Because I think there are some great movies. There are some great movies. Right, exactly. There's some great movies produced by Harvey Weinstein. Still piece of shit, but you know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's the problems I run into a lot, is separating the like what people do behind closed doors. I hope whoever messed up gets their due diligence, but
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the situation. I mean, I was never that big of a Bill Cosby fan to begin with. I mean, he was certainly funny, but he was still really shocking. But anyways, I get out of that rabbit hole.
We've fallen down a moral rabbit hole down in here. Running Man's done it to us.
Yeah, Darn Arnold. And he's another one that kind of got up to the controversy with him cheating on his wife.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was before he ran for like governor. Crazy.
Yeah, he's definitely someone I look up to with the whole him coming over from Austria. And him being Mr. Universe and all that stuff. But so what are your final thoughts about this movie?
I think it's a movie that's a lot of fun. It's campy, it's cheesy, it's got just enough like thoughtful meat in there to kind of think about if you really want to dig into it. But
that's our last conversation.
Right. And I think it's ripe for like a remake. Like I think like they remade Total Recall, which was I feel like I've seen it, but I don't remember any of it.
Well, I don't think the remake would deserve a remake, because I think it wasn't that cheesy. Like it felt enough.
I feel like this movie would be perfect for a remake.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like this would be great. This would be a great movie to remake. It'd be a great movie to have like Arnold in a cameo as like a stalker or something, like a washed up stalker. Oh, it'd be great.
I think Stephen King wrote this movie or directed this movie. Like
if Stephen King directed it?
Yeah, because that shit crazy as Maximum Overdrive was. Can you imagine how like crazy this movie would have been?
Love it. I would love it. I would love to see a Stephen King adaptation of his own book.
This movie would have been like one of the biggest fever dreams of all time if he would have directed it.
Right. It would have been nuts. What are your final thoughts?
Well, keep in mind, in this scenario, this is Stephen King when he's when he's like on drugs.
Yeah, completely coked out of his mind. Just like Buzzsaw. He comes on the set every day just like Buzzsaw.
No, I thought this was a fun movie. I love the world. I love the world building. I love how all the stalkers felt like Mega Man bosses. And they all had a gimmick. Like in Mega Man, like Cut Man and like Kite Man and like whatever man.
Bee Man. Yeah, shoots bees at you.
I thought that was pretty neat. I like how the music built tension. It very much like that kind of John Carpenter kind of synth sound. I just wish, like I said, the backstory could have been explained a lot better.
Yeah.
But that's
That
me and for you guys.
Running Man, yay!
Yeah, thanks for voting for that movie. That was definitely a treat. I really liked watching it for sure. Because the other two movies on the poll I already seen already.
Right. So it's something new you hadn't seen before.
Yeah. So yeah. With that being said, I want this platform to be a little more interactive. So what I decided to do was, I already told you this before we went on filming, is I wrote down a whole bunch of foreign sci-fi movies. I put them in the random name generator, and the first three are going to be on a poll. So you get to vote for those top three. So I got it up right now. Let's see
Exciting.
what movie pops up. So it looks like the top three movies are we got Event Horizon, TerraVision. Number three didn't pop up, so we'll skip down to number four. And that's The Beast of Yanhain Flats.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
Oh man!
Yeah, isn't that? Yeah, I heard it's not like a really bad movie, like one of the mystery science fiction type of movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have it in a 50 movie pack full of public.
It's got Tor Johnson in it.
Oh,
It's
really?
the guy from Plan 9.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on the list. I'll put that on the list as soon as we get done.
Okay, we'll do that one next. But like, it's laughable bad. Beast of Yucca Flats, TerraVision, Yucca Flats. Have you seen TerraVision?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's real bad too, but it's great. It's like 80s bad. And then Event Horizon is a movie that
The one where
almost
he's
is
like
great.
held in space or whatever.
Yeah. It's got Sam Neill. It's got Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. It's got Lawrence.
I forgot it was
Fishburne.
the hell thing.
That
movie might freak me out, but
it's pretty tame. It's like 90s, like
okay.
hell in space. It's almost great. It's an almost great movie.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
That movie somewhere in the ether of the universe.
Say again?
Isn't there like a director's cut or an unreleased director's cut that's like lost somewhere in the ether of the universe?
Maybe. It may be. It's definitely the best movie that what's his name? Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
No, it's not Paul Thomas Anderson. It's Paul W.S. Anderson. It's the guy who made Alien versus Predator and the first Resident Evil movie. He made a name for himself doing like video game adaptations later.
Oh, really?
But he started with Event Horizon in like '97.
Yeah, I know all about that.
I'm excited to see what people pick. This is a real grab bag of amazing.
Which one do you want to do?
Which one do I want to do?
Yeah, out of the three, which one's like?
I don't.
I like TerraVision might be kind of interesting.
TerraVision could be a lot of fun. Event Horizon's a lot of fun. Yucca Flats, I feel like if we did Yucca Flats, I feel like we'd just be making fun of it like the whole time. And honestly, all of them sound great. I'm excited to see what everyone picks.
Yep. That was that. Let's wrap up this video. One last thing before I go. I made my first. Let me start over. I have a whole lineup of horror movies I want to review this October because October just around the corner in a couple of days. So I did the Holy Trinity of Universal Horror, which is Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman, as my first video. That's coming out on October 1st.
Shoot, that's quick. That's like 2 days away.
Yeah,
that's the end of this week.
Yeah, stay tuned for that video, and glad to have you back on the video. I know we got another big video planned this October. which is pretty exciting. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
tell you about it right now because it's gonna be kind of a big like a kind of a surprise.
Keep the mystery going.
Yeah, but thank you for having that. Thanks for being on this on here again. And I've been Drew from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Yeah.